Welcome, everybody, to our third installment of our expert led guest calls. We have had some amazing calls in this series. We had Brenda Jubiel do an inner child work session that was just incredible. Edward Holmgren did some sports science and how it affects our minds last month. And now tonight, I'm super excited to introduce one of my favorite people, a colleague. I have been a client. I am a client of hers and I work with her. She has made incredible strides in the way I look at myself, my past, and my future. And I am really excited for all of us to get an opportunity to really look at how the power of our mind can control everything and disease and our DNA and everything that's involved with our bodies starts with our minds. And I'm so excited to introduce Lindsay and to let her have the floor here. So I'm going to step out of the way and I'm going to give you the floor. Lindsay, I give you a huge welcome all the way from Canada. It's all yours.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. So today I wanted to talk about, our power of our mind over disease, disorder, our genetics. It's pretty incredible. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information. I'm going to tell a couple stories because I believe that storytelling is one of the greatest ways of teaching things. And I even created a little workbook as well. And I wasn't sure how I could share it in the chat. So I might just post it in your community just as a little workbook that people can work through, a little PDF form with that. So basically, I work with people with a lot of herbs, with a lot of meditation, breath work, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people ask, about herbs and what I do, and it's all really important. But the biggest, most important thing with anybody in the world is their mind, what you're thinking. So the way we perceive ourselves, the way we perceive the world around us, has an enormous impact on the way our body functions, the way it responds, even the way our genetics respond, and what proteins they produce. So how many people here have heard of the double-blind slit experiment? It's a quantum physics experiment that was done. Okay, this is going to blow your mind. So the double-blind slit experiment is a famous study where they fired electrons through a screen, through slits in a screen, and they acted like waves when unobserved. So that means like when nobody's looking, these particles, when electrons are fired through two slits onto a screen and they are unobserved, they act like waves. So if you picture these things being fired through and there's a screen here and they go through the two slits, they act like waves when unobserved, when nobody's watching, when it's not being measured or anything like that. But the moment that they are being observed or measured, they collapse and they choose like a straight path. Only under observation. So when unobserved, the particles act like waves, creating an interference pattern, like they're kind of going like this, like you see them coming through the screen and they're creating this like interference pattern. And then when they are observed and measured onto the screen, something strange happens and the particles are collapse into particles, choosing a single path, only under observation. So what does that mean? Did I create a good picture in your mind with that? Is that making sense? Only under observation do they change. So that means on the tiniest little scale, with our body, with our mind, the way when we are observing something, when we are giving it our attention, it completely changes it. It can completely change the outcome of what happens with you and your body. So a lot of people think that, genes are our destiny and genes can determine your health, but the field of epigenetics has revealed that that is not true. Your beliefs and emotions can switch genes on and off. So I'll tell you a little story. I met a young man a while back, and he was dealing with a genetic illness. And this was such a serious genetic illness. It had a really long name. I wish I could tell you what it was, but basically it was something that his father had and his father's mother had. And when he was telling me about this, he was losing function for walking. He was having headaches all the time. He was having nerve pain throughout his entire body. He was having like sleep issues and metabolic issues. He was having phantom pains come and go all over his body. And so I began asking him questions about this, like, when did it start? And it was interesting because he said, this is a genetic illness. My father died from this. His mother died from this. And I'm like, wow, that's really heartbreaking. Like, tell me more about it. And the more I learned was he was fine, perfectly fine and healthy his entire life until he saw his father start to become ill. When he began to observe his father becoming ill and start to degenerate and degrade and to experience these illness effects and all these symptoms, it was only then that he started to feel these things. That's when it began for him. And it really took hold when his father passed away. And that was that. It really solidified in his mind, I am sick, this is going to happen. So I got a little bit more curious and I asked him, well, okay, so he was about 22 years old. I'm like, okay, so when did your father become ill? And he's like, well, it wasn't until later, like obviously he's older. So he's like, he didn't become ill until in his 40s. I'm like, well, that's really interesting. A genetic disease that your father, it didn't affect him at all until in his 40s. I'm like, what happened in his 40s? Well, that's when his mother became really, really sick and she passed away. So it wasn't until going and observing his mother being ill and passing away from this so-called genetic disease that his father got ill. And it wasn't until he observed his father that he became ill. It was only through observation of these illnesses that the people actually became ill. So it begs the question, what if they never observed their loved one becoming ill? What if they were never told this was a genetic illness? What would happen then? These things were put into their minds and mixed with high emotion of watching a loved one become very ill and in great pain, suffer, and then pass away. That's not some little thing. That affects you really, really strongly in your heart, in your mind. It changes everything. It's really interesting. Like in a Harvard study they did where people practiced gratitude and compassion for just 10 minutes every day. And this was shown to upregulate genes associated with immune function and downgrade inflammatory genes. So 10 minutes a day of just practicing a sustained elevated emotion of gratitude and compassion. They measured this and it downregulated inflammatory genes and upregulated immune function. So in our body, we've got immunoglobulin A, which is a crucial antibody, and it serves for the first line of defense when protecting you against bacteria, toxins, disease, everything like that. And in a 4-day study, participants practiced heart-centered meditation. So if you ever, heart-centered meditation, taking your attention, placing it on your heart, breathing into your heart space, connecting, heart-brain coherence. So they practiced heart-centered meditation for just 10 minutes a day, again. And at the end of just a 4-day study, their immunoglobulin A levels increased by 50%. And they measured this. This is proven and shown. After 4 days of practicing this, just 10 minutes a day. If you can do that with just 10 minutes a day, this crushes so much medication and everybody's, pushing all kinds of injections and things like that for immune health. But in reality, this is proven to be the absolute top best thing to increase everyone's immune function. And anyone can do it anywhere, anytime. That's pretty amazing. I like that. So it shows that your emotional state can shift your immune state in an instant. So when you go from living in a stress situation, so the chemicals in stress, it was fight or flight mode and living in survival, healing stops, immunity weakens. So too often in our world right now, everybody's kind of living in a fight or flight mode. Everybody's living in stress mode. We got high cortisol levels. And when we go into that mode, that go, 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 high stress, high emotion going, that's when our immune system drops. Have you ever noticed that people get really ill around Christmas time when stress levels go lots of, sometimes work slows down and everybody's like, oh, we got to do all this stuff before the Christmas holiday and I got to get presents and all these things. And everybody's just like stress. And then all of a sudden everybody gets sick. It's not that there's more, germs around. I mean, sometimes air pressure changes, you get more toxins in your atmosphere, maybe. But the big thing is stress levels, down regulating your genes, down regulating your immunoglobulin A. And side note, when it comes to working in a high stress state for a long period of time, the physiology of stress is crazy. So just a side note on that. So biologically, when you're living in a chronic state of stress, whether it's from trauma, overwork, or resentment, fear, or even living in just survival mode from having pain or disorder or something like that. So your body activates the sympathetic nervous system, known as fight or flight. And when that happens, like we're designed properly. So we're supposed to go, when we go into fight or flight mode, our blood thickens for a reason. Because if we're attacked, we won't bleed out so fast. Did you know that? It's interesting. Most people don't think about it. Like when we go into fight or flight mode, our blood thickens itself in case, we're getting chased by a cougar. Like where I live, there's cougars everywhere. If you're being chased by a cougar and you get bit by an animal or something like that, you won't bleed out quite as fast when your blood is thickened. But most of the time, we are not being chased by wild animals. We're not. Let's face it. Maybe once in a while, not happening most of the time. But we're living with thickened blood. So if you combine that with overeating of sugar or salts or something like that, or if you have any kind of a blood clot, if you are constantly living in fight or flight mode and your blood cannot flow properly through your body and you have any narrowing of the arteries due to any other conditions, you are putting yourself at high risk for a heart attack. And that's what people always say, it's like, oh, this person seemed so healthy. They seem so great, but their stress level was so high and then boom, heart attack. So that's just a side note of the importance of taking yourself out of fight or flight mode, bringing yourself back into the present moment and utilizing, that 10 minutes of an elevated emotion, elevated vibration once a day. If you can do it more than that, great. You can do it all day, even better. But making it that purposeful 10 minutes a day to upregulate your genes. Because here's the thing, like oftentimes when we get a diagnosis, it's kind of like a blow to that, like our pride, our ego, our everything, our life. And that can kind of have a ripple effect on our thoughts and our emotions. So learning how to think greater than your environment and think greater than your body in the moment can bring you out of that. Because if we keep going in the loop of, oh crap, I'm sick, I need to get better. Oh no, I'm ill, I need to get better. It's kind of relaying that stress response over and over. And when we stay in that stress response, just like I said, we are down regulating our genes. We are producing different proteins in our body that are not putting us closer to healing. As soon as the moment that you start upregulating your genes, and by changing your thought process, changing your vibration, changing your mood, all of those things together, you immediately start upregulating genes and producing different proteins in your body. And this has been measured and proven over and over again. So it's easier said than done a lot of the times. And you're thinking, oh yeah, just change your thoughts, change your mind, change your emotions and stuff like that. Because neuroplasticity and epigenetics is, the brain constantly rewiring based on thought alone. And when we've had the same thought in our mind over and over and over for, days, weeks, months, maybe years, maybe it's something we were taught from childhood, it hardwires into our brain. That doesn't mean you can't change it. It just means it's going to take a bit more doing to do the changing. And studies show that meditation can switch the genes on and off immediately. So using that with heart-brain coherence is one of the most effective ways to change your health. And so this is really interesting. So the placebo effect, how many people here have heard about the placebo effect? Yeah, so it makes sense, or it doesn't, depending on how you look at it. People always say, oh, the placebo effect is just so willy-nilly, but think about it for a minute. You can give somebody something that is just like a sugar pill, tell them it's going to do something. And if they believe you, they think that, yes, this is helping me. And they think, oh, this, I'm going to get better. And then they're like, yeah, I feel better. That's all it did, was give them a different thought, a different feeling, a different emotion, and they put all those together. So it wasn't the sugar pill or like the fake medicine or the fake tincture or whatever, it wasn't the magic water. It was the thought mixed with the emotion, with that intention put forth with true belief. I think that's just amazing. Because the placebo effect has been kind of just downplayed so much because they use it in all drug studies and stuff like that. For a drug to be approved, it needs to be at least 30%, which is what the placebo effect usually scores at, is a 30% effectiveness, because not everybody believes in, the drugs that they're being given. But yeah, so it is that effective. So if you give somebody something and they're just like, yeah, whatever, another drug, another pill, it's never going to work. Well, they're right. You could even give somebody the best medicine in the world. Like, for example, some of the herbs that I work with that can work on a chemical level. It can work on a vibrational level. It can work on both. And those do work. But if the mind is so strong to say, no, I'm still looking for an outside source to heal. I still need something else. This will not work. I still need something else. Your body is going to say, okay, sure, you need something else. Or you're going to feel that stress of this isn't going to work. And your body's like, okay, yeah, you're right. Your body listens to everything that you say. And it listens and it hears and sees everything that you think. You can't get anything past your body. Your body's like, no, it's more connected to your subconscious mind than you are half the time. Think about that. It's always watching you. It always knows. It knows what you don't even know. So to take the time to really connect with your subconscious mind and find out what's really going on in my thoughts. What's really going on in my heart? When you go deep into those things and really peel things back, you can make a huge difference in your health, your well-being, with anything you're trying to overcome. Changing your body, no matter how you want to change yourself, every cell in your body responds to your thoughts and your emotions, your feelings, your vibration, just like the double slit experiment. You know, everything's going through the two slits and they're just doing this. They're all interfered. As soon as you observe, you're like, oh, it does exactly what you expect it to do. Them going through the slits and they go, stay in a straight line. That's what you expect. Your observation, your expectations, your thoughts, your emotions change the way cells respond. Every cell in your body. And it's kind of been shown lately that we're not even as solid as we think we are. We're more nothing than we are anything. It's really weird when you think about it. Like we're all just vibrating at different frequencies. Everything we touch, everything we encounter, everything we drink, everything we eat, it's all about a frequency. And the biggest impact on our life and our genetics happens when we change the way we observe ourselves. So, let's see how much time we're doing. We're doing pretty good. So, I want to share another story with you, and that is, so my godmother was diagnosed with cancer many years ago, and she was a woman who had a lot of faith, and she went through a lot of chemo for the cancer. She had biopsies and surgeries, and she did all the things she was supposed to do, and it got worse and worse and worse and worse. She did not want to accept this, and she sought out holistic healing. And a woman gave her some, holistic herbal stuff, and she got better, completely better. The biggest turning point, I believe, is that she refused to accept the diagnosis. She wanted to get better more than anything in the world, and she kept her faith and she prayed, but she also watched hilarious movies. She laughed. She spent time with loved ones. She did all the things of upregulating her emotions, her mood, not dwelling on what she wanted to do, like, oh, please take this cancer away. It wasn't like that. She focused on being happy. She focused on feeling good. She focused on eating good food. She upregulated her emotions for extended periods of time every single day. I remember this because my mom was taking funny movies over to her place all the time, like, oh, we just got to cheer her up, like laughter is the best medicine, haha, that kind of thing. But it was so very true, because you hear about all sorts of different diseases and they claim that they are uncurable on one hand. But how many of you have ever heard of somebody having a disease that was said to be, that's the end, no chance of survival, and then they spontaneously get better? Show of hands, how many people have ever heard a story of somebody just getting better out of nowhere from an illness? Yeah, that's amazing. So how can we sit back and say that these diseases are incurable when time and time again people get better from them? It's a narrative that can be pretty damaging. Like if you go to your doctor and they say, hey, you've got this illness, the chances of survival are not good. We don't have a cure for you. That thought is just been implanted in your mind. That thought creates an emotion. That emotion creates that vibration. You can get fear, overwhelm, stress, sadness, hopelessness, all of those emotions that have been shown to downregulate your genes, producing a different protein, producing a different reaction in your body. Now, if you went to that doctor and with the same diagnosis, he says, oh, you've got this disease right now, but don't worry, we'll take care of you. Most people get better right away. You're going to be absolutely fine. This is nothing to worry about. Don't even worry. We got you. People get better from this all the time. All the time. Immediately your mind goes, oh, whew, thank goodness. That's really good news. You feel good. You feel hopeful. You feel lighter. You feel relieved. You feel happy. all of those emotions upregulate your genes, producing a different protein in your body, and immediately goes to work helping you get better. And on the other note about my godmother, she got better, completely better. She had cancer that had spread throughout her entire body. And they gave her, I think, 3 months to live, and then 1 month to live, and then next thing you know, she's going back to her doctor, and they're testing her, going, I can't believe this. The cancer is completely gone. 100% gone. They go, how? Well, you know what they did? They said, it's a miracle. We can't explain it. Do you think those doctors went to other people in their practice going, hey, you got to see this? She had cancer spread all throughout her body. It was everywhere. This was an absolute miracle. They didn't say, hey, what did you do? You got to share this information with everybody in the world. They need to know this. We got to share this. Write down every single thing that you did. No, they didn't do that. No. No, because disease makes a lot of money. And if everybody knew that your thinking, your feeling, your mood, your thought alone can completely change your health, it would turn the healthcare system on its ass. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's true. But right here, right now, you are learning this. You are learning one of the most pivotal changes that you can make in your health right now by learning how to do this. And again, sometimes it's easier said than done, especially if we have a disconnect with our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind is what really affects things when we're, switching with our nervous system from one mode to the next. And so sometimes we have to go back and figure out what's happening in our lives. What happened in our life? Is it still affecting us? How does it still affect us? And that can take some time. That's okay. That can be done. But that's why sometimes committing to, doing this sort of thing on a daily practice is really important, because it's not always just a one and done. Especially in my practice, when I'm working with people with herbs and things like that, we'll start with something, help with your symptoms, make you feel a little bit better. That's good. But then begins the real work. Cracking into that mind, figuring out the subconscious stuff, clearing things away slowly. Because we can say, like, on the surface, we can say, oh, we're good. We're doing good. We're feeling good. But in the back of our mind, we can still have those old beliefs that are still holding us back in that position of downregulating our genes, because those thoughts are still active. As much as we like to override them, it can be pretty tricky sometimes. But again, it's all doable. You can change it. So on that note, I was thinking about taking you all through a little bit of a meditation, if you're interested. How does that sound? Little meditation? Okay. So find yourself comfortable in your seat. And when you're ready, we're just going to start with 6 deep breaths just to center ourselves. And then we'll begin a meditation. And I thought about sharing some music with this, but I don't usually. Are you okay with a silent, like a quiet meditation, or would you like me to throw on some background sound? You're okay? Okay. All right. So when you're ready, sit up straight, close your eyes, and we're going to take a deep, long breath in through your nose. When you're ready, everybody, I can see you all. Get comfy. Get comfy and take a deep breath in. And we're going to fill up your chest and fill up your belly. In 3, 2, 1, go. Hold it at the top. And breathe out like you're breathing out through a straw. Breathe out all the stale air. And breathe in. Hold it at the top. And breathe it out like you're breathing out, like blowing the wind through the trees and the leaves. Breathe out all the air and breathe in. Fill up your chest, fill up your belly, all the way to the top and hold. And breathe out. Again, breathing out like you're breathing out through a straw. And breathe in. Hold it at the top. And breathe out like you're blowing the wind through the leaves. Breathe out all the air and breathe in. And hold. Take another sip. And breathe out like you're breathing out through the wind. Wind in the leaves. Now, this time when you breathe in, I want you to picture white light all around you and breathe in that white light energy through your nose. Let it swirl around inside your chest and breathe out all the stale air. Breathe in that nice white light energy. See it going up through your nostrils into your lungs and swirling around, going into your bloodstream, and breathe out all the stale air. And breathe in that nice white light energy. As you breathe this in, with each breath getting deeper and longer, I want you to picture that white light energy kind of sparkling a little bit, flowing in through your nose and circulating into your body. So I want you to find a nice steady pace of long breaths in and long breaths out. Picturing that nice white light energy going into your body, swirling around your chest, moving into your abdomen, swirling around your stomach, your intestines. If there are any hard mass of energy or blockages of energy, allow this white light energy to swirl around, permeate, and release all tension, all mass, and breathe it out. With each long breath, breathe in that nice white light energy into your neck, into your shoulders, into your arms, down into your elbows, into your forearm, relaxing and breaking up any hard mass, any places of tension or stagnant energy. Allow it to swirl around with its sparkling white light into your hands, into your fingers, down to the tips of your fingers. It dissolves all hard mass and swirls out, and you breathe it out. As you breathe in these nice long breaths of that white light energy, allow it to go up your neck, into your jaw, through your ears, into your eyes, up to your head, and swirl around with that nice sparkling white light energy. Breathe it in and breathe it out, all mass, all stagnant energy. Allow it to pass. And another deep breath in, you take in that nice white light sparkling energy. Allow this one to go down from your head, down your neck, into your spine. It illuminates your spine as it goes down your back, into your hips. If there are any places of mass, stagnant energy, blockages, allow this to permeate that, dissolve it, break it up, and release it with your breath. And breathe in another beautiful, deep breath. This time, allow that white light energy to go down through your pelvis, into your legs, into your knees, down your calves, into your heels, your feet. Oh, it just glimmers and shimmers as it goes through your feet into your toes, dissolving any hard mass, any stagnant energy, dissolving it and breathing it out with every exhale, like you're blowing the leaves through the trees. And breathe in a nice deep breath. And breathe out all stale air. Now that you've got nice long deep breaths going and you've broken up a lot of mass, a lot of stagnant energy, I want you to picture a golden light right above your head. As this golden light hovers atop the top of your head, I want you to feel your connection to source energy. And picture that golden light coming down through into the top of your head. As it comes through the top of your head, I want you to say these words: I am one with the divine intelligence. And that white light expands, that golden light expands in the top of your head. And as it expands through the top of your head, it moves down into your third eye chakra. This golden orb swirls around between your brows. You'll feel clarity and intuition. I want you to say, I see with inner vision. And as you're breathing deep and this golden light ball moves down from your third eye into your throat chakra, this golden light expands, moves down into your throat chakra, clearing away blockages. Words flow freely. I want you to say the words, I express myself with truth and love. And as that golden light goes down from your throat into your heart chakra, the light softens grief, resentment. You feel expansion of love. And you say the words, I am open, I am love. That golden light moves down to your solar plexus, burns away fear. Confidence ignites, and you say the words, I am strong and empowered. And then the golden light grows even bigger, swirls around, and moves down to your sacral chakra. The swirling light through the guilt and the shame, reclaim creativity, and say the words, I honor my desires and emotions. As that golden light expands and moves down to your root chakra, ground light deep into the earth. Feel supported and say the words, I am safe, stable, and secure. See the golden orb expanding through your entire body. Every cell glows with intelligence. Feel that golden light permeating every cell in your entire body right now. And repeat the words, I am the healer. I am the light. I am whole. Healing isn't a miracle. It's the natural outcome of aligning your thoughts, emotions, and energy. You're never alone, and you're always supported, and your healing begins now. Thank you for joining me with that. How did that feel? Do you have any questions or comments? Go right ahead.
Ramsey's got his hand up. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh man, yeah, I like this. I like this stuff a lot. A lot. I love it. I got a question. This first,
Yes.
I like this. This reminds me of The Alchemist, the book. The guy reframed his thoughts. So he was like, someone like robbed him, and he was like reframed his thoughts to be like, oh, I'm on an adventure instead of him being robbed. That's what I wanted to say. I don't know. It's like, oh, whatever. I got a question. Yeah, this happens when I get super. I watch videos on YouTube. I watch like anime openings and like video game trailers. Oh man, I've been doing this for years, and whenever I get super excited, I feel like electricity always in this part of my head all the time. And I would ask people, what is that? Why does that happen? Like static electricity, but always right here. Whenever I get super excited and I watch the same like scene over and over again, and then that static electricity is always right in this part of my brain, always right
Yeah.
here. Like it feels like a bunch of static electricity when I get really, really, really happy. What is that?
You're charged up.
Oh,
You're
okay.
we are batteries. It's pretty amazing. Like we are batteries. We get charged up. When we have an elevated emotion, we all have a field of energy around us. And we have different energy points throughout our entire body. I think there's 8 of them in total, and one of them kind of hovers above our head, and one of them is right, at the top of our head. So I believe you are just charged up with your emotion, because your emotion affects your energy level.
Oh, that's crazy, man. And it happens like on command. When I watch the trailer and I go back to that same scene, it'll happen again and
I'm
again.
not leaving. I'm just going to grab something. 1 second.
You can keep going. I'm pretty sure she still hears you.
Oh, okay, okay. And then I think she answered it clearly with the charged up
There
question.
we go. I'm not gone. I'm still here.
Oh,
The little one
snap,
just, so
baby.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, she woke up. I could see her crawling away on the baby monitor, so I go to grab her. All
I think
right.
it's the question though, because when I was doing the meditation, it was like my eyes were like spinning in my like I felt my eyes spinning while my eyes were closed. I don't know if that's called something when your eyes
But
spin when your eyes are closed. I don't know what the word for it is called. Is it like
yeah, I don't know.
rapid eye movement or something? I don't know. That happens to me too
Well, I
sometimes.
mean, your brain waves change. Like when we went it through the 6 deep breaths, it changes it slips you into a different, nervous system. And so out of fight or flight into a nice relaxed state. And then when you go into deep meditation, your brain waves change from like high beta to low beta and then, theta, and it completely changes your brain waves and your energy and everything around you. So that's that crazy feeling. Like I don't know about you guys, but when I do deep breath work and deep meditation, I can feel my body going through different shifts, and I sometimes get a lot of tingles through my arms, through my legs, and even in my head. Like I'll see, when my eyes are closed, I'll see different colors and swirls and things going on. Do you guys ever get that when you do a deep meditation or a deep breath
I
work? You do?
definitely do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sorry, I was
so we are
driving.
more connected, or we're meant to be more connected to the energy fields around us. Like we are in one giant energy field. We are way more connected to source energy than most people perceive. Like if there's one thing you can take away, is that there is only oneness in your life, in your work, in your relationships. Everything that is around you and everything that is with you is a reflection of you. Your energy, your thoughts, your emotion, everything is oneness. So if you don't like what's in your life, the only way to change it is to start in here. And the best way to make that connection is through heart brain coherence. So maybe next time we all get together, we can do some heart brain connection, some heart math, some deep breathing. But that is one thing. When you are in coherence when your mind and your heart are in coherence, you are coherent and your body is functioning at its optimal level. You can create from that space, you can heal from that space, but if your heart and your mind are incoherent, you are incoherent. And then your body becomes incoherent. And if you live in that state of incoherence with your heart and your mind for a long period of time, that is what causes disease. That is what causes the downregulation of genes. And this is what turns on that genetic sequencing of producing proteins for disease rather than producing proteins for wellness. Any other questions? How much time?
I have a share that you sparked in with me. And I see a need. Lindsay, I'm going to be talking to you for our paid group to get you in, maybe for some more meditations in the future. I would absolutely love that for foundations. What you sparked for me was I've seen both sides of this personally. What you were talking about with focusing on disease or injury or healing. When in 2010, when I got a traumatic brain injury in a cage fight, and then 6 days later, I was in a car accident and got a second traumatic brain injury. I was told I would never speak again normally. I would never work again. I would never be able to do physical activity. I was told a lot of bad, and I didn't accept that. I said, not a chance. I'm a fighter. That's what I do. And I didn't accept that. In about a year and a half, I was speaking normal. I was thinking semi normal. I was working. I was functioning. But then I fell into a victim mentality and started to think, while I've had so many concussions and these brain injuries, I'm never going to be able to heal. And I went backwards for a decade. And then I flipped it again. And I said, no, I'm not going to accept this. I'm going to change my life. And then I started to improve. So I have actually personally been on a roller coaster of being on both sides of what you were talking about earlier. So that really struck me pretty heavily.
Yeah, yeah, and it's pretty incredible, like the proof that you just showed yourself and reflecting on what you went through, of being told something terrible, but then you decide you're going to get better and you do the things. And oftentimes it's it's when we slip back, it's because we think things aren't progressing well enough, or we're not seeing the results show enough. And you get tired of putting the effort, or if you don't even know if your efforts are giving you the results that you want. And that's so often what brings people back. The old saying, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. But
Yeah.
in reflecting and recognizing that, you can see for yourself that it is your thoughts, your attitude, your intention with everything that can really be the biggest catalyst.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
just like, even in sports, like, you probably, as an athlete, you probably already know about visualization that athletes do.
Yeah.
When they've done, again, studies with athletes, where they took 2 different groups, and one group would visualize themselves doing something specific, a specific act, and they would visualize themselves doing it. Another group did nothing, no visualization, and another group visualized themselves, but as a third person, like observing themselves doing the thing. And that group saw no improvement. The group that did nothing saw no improvement, but the group that visualized themselves actually doing the activity had a 10% increase in ability, just from that short time that they did the visualization. Because your mind cannot tell the difference between something real and something fake, because your body responds immediately in the moment of your thoughts. If you think of something really scary or awful or a past memory that was terrible, your body responds like it's happening to you right now in that moment. And that's why presence, I can do a whole nother talk just on presence alone. That's why presence is one of the greatest skills that you can learn. Because when we are living in the past or trying to like figure out a future, or predict the future, or predicting a terrible future, because that's what a lot of people do. They think about the worst case scenario and they think about the worst parts of their past, and their body just goes back and forth, bouncing between these emotions of what has happened and what could happen, and what has happened and what could happen. And your body is just so dysregulated, your heart and your mind and everything becomes incoherent. And that's the state people live in. And that creates disease. And that can turn on genetic responses to create diseases. So becoming present with this very moment, like we are here right now, is just such a gift.
Well, Lindsay, I really thank you for this. It was eye-opening, as I knew it was going to be. It was amazing. I would like you to take a second to let us know, where can we find you on school?
Yeah, absolutely. So my community is called Mind and Body Rebuild. And everybody is welcome. It's a free community. I offer daily coaching in there, and you can ask me anything anytime. There's a lot of really great resources in the toolkit. You can also find me on YouTube now, Misty Mountains Holistic. And yeah, so I am posting lots of videos in there with tips and tricks, and a little bit of my story as well, but a lot of coaching in the videos to bring some more awareness of what is possible for people, and to offer some of the techniques that I use for myself and my clients as well. And yeah,
Perfect.
of course you can
Well,
find me on Instagram and all that stuff too, but I can always put a post in your school with a lot of my contact information if
I will do a
anybody is
follow-up
curious.
thread too. If you want to put any of your links on it, you're more than welcome. I'll do a follow-up thread
Yeah,
tonight
yeah,
after
I'll
this
drop
group.
all my links in there.
And you can
Yeah.
drop your links in there. You can find this recording tonight in the Foundations Vault as well as the Evergreen Evolution Vault. We will be holding these calls the second Thursday of every month. We will have another guest come up. I'm sure out of request from myself, especially, we will have Lindsay back again. I'm going to talk to Lindsay about coming into Foundations and doing some guest spots. So there's always room to grow for all of us. All of us coaches, members, everybody, we're always looking to grow. And there's a lot of opportunities. So keep up to date on our calendar, keep up to date in our communities. You never know what piece of information is going to be the one that moves you to that next level. Remember to, like Lindsay said, what we focus on, we become. So let's focus on becoming the best version of ourselves. I hope everybody has a fantastic night. Look forward to a follow-up thread on this. Drop your thoughts on this group. And Lindsay, thanks once again. It was incredible to have you as always. And I look forward to meeting with you here soon.